The morning the world decided to test my patience. I was standing on my porch with a mug of coffee, watching sunlight glint off the lake like nothing bad could ever happen there. My name's Jack Porter, and for once in my career, I wasn't buried under red tape or briefing folders. I'd spent 30 years serving my country, and after climbing higher than I ever planned, I finally had a few days off. Out here at my quiet cabin on Silver Pine Lake, I was supposed to be just a man with a fishing pole and bad Wi-Fi, not the director of the Bureau of Federal Investigation. But peace and I have never been close friends, and that weekend proved it. Across the street, in a bright yellow house with matching flower boxes, lived Martha Whitfield, retired realtor, self-appointed neighborhood guardian, and the kind of woman who thought every leaf blower after 5 o'clock p.m. was an act of war. I'd met her once when I bought the property. She'd handed me a plate of cookies that tasted suspiciously like resentment and told me we keep things quiet around here. I didn't think much of it then, but that morning, as I sat down to enjoy my coffee, Martha was already at her window, clutching a pair of binoculars, like she was auditioning for a spy movie. Now, for the record, I wasn't doing anything suspicious. Unless you count wearing sweatpants and unloading groceries suspicious. But apparently, to Martha, it was. When I dragged a black duffel bag out of my truck, a gym bag full of fishing gear, she froze. I could feel her stare even from across the road. By the time I'd set the bag inside, she'd already dialed her phone with that mix of righteousness and caffeine only suburban watchdogs possess. Somewhere in a call center, miles away, a young agent probably sighed as she told them she suspected a terrorist at 1100 Cedar Bluff Road. She must have really laid it on thick, because 10 minutes later, I heard the roar of engines and the grind of tires outside. My peace vanished in an instant. I looked out the window and nearly dropped my mug. A full tactical convoy, flashing lights, agents in body armor, was surrounding my cabin like I'd been plotting a coup from my kitchen table. I remember blinking, trying to process what I was seeing. Then a voice boomed. "FBI, step outside with your hands where we can see them." I actually laughed at first. I thought it was a prank. Then I saw the rifles. "Good Lord," I muttered, stepping onto the porch with my hands up. "You've got the wrong guy on your knees," one of them barked. "For God's sake," I said, "I'm your boss." They didn't buy it. I can't blame them. Flannel shirt, beard, sleep-deprived eyes. I didn't exactly scream. "Director of the Bureau." I pulled my badge from my pocket, careful not to make any sudden moves. The nearest agent hesitated, then grabbed it, looked down, and his face drained of color. "Oh crap," he whispered, "it's him." From across the street came the sound of triumph. Martha stood on her porch, arms crossed like she'd just solved a national conspiracy. "I told you," she yelled. "He's dangerous." "Ma'am," one of the agents said wearily, "this man is the director of the FBI." Her face went through all 5 stages of regret in about 3 seconds. Then she sniffed and said, "Well, maybe your people shouldn't look so sneaky." They packed up and left. I went back inside, coffee cold, ego bruised, and peace officially dead. That was supposed to be the end of it, but of course, Martha wasn't done. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the pines, I caught sight of movement near the tree line. A tall figure in a dark hoodie stood just beyond the clearing, watching. I blinked, and it was gone. Maybe it was a hiker, I thought. maybe just the shadows. But something about it set my instincts on edge. The next morning, I took a walk down the lake trail, trying to shake it off. I should have known better. Martha was tailing me at a stealth distance of about 15 feet, pretending to tie her shoe every time I looked back. Later that day, she stormed across my driveway and pounded on the door like she had a warrant. "I know what you're up to," she declared. "Morning to you, too," I said. "That explosion last night, the lights in your backyard, don't think I didn't notice." I stared at her explosion. She leaned closer. "You might have fooled those agents, but not me." I just started laughing. One of those tired, helpless laughs you get when life crosses from absurd to surreal. "Lady," I said, "the only dangerous thing around here is your imagination," she huffed. "We'll see who's right." Then she stomped off, muttering about writing letters to City Hall. But that night, I heard it. A metallic crack outside followed by a flash. I ducked as something whizzed past the window. Then came the blast. My porch shook, smoke billowing everywhere. I grabbed my sidearm and ran out, heart pounding. A shadow bolted through the trees. And of course, because irony loves company, Martha was walking her dog at that exact moment. She dropped flat on the ground, screaming. By the time the smoke cleared, she was up on her knees, eyes wide, shouting, "I told you. I knew you were hiding something. This isn't about me." I coughed. "Someone's after me." Before she could process that, another black SUV pulled up. This time, just one. A man in a suit stepped out and called, "Director Porter, we need to leave immediately." Martha planted herself between us. "Hold on, who are you?" The agent ignored her. I groaned. "You're not coming with me." "Oh yes, I am," she said, arms crossed. 5 minutes later, she was sitting in the back seat beside me, grinning like she'd won a contest. At the regional field office, Deputy Director Sam Harris met us in the war room, his face grim. On the table were files marked "Confidential Internal Breach." He explained that a rogue group of cyber operatives had been targeting federal officials, hacking security feeds, intercepting comms, planting devices. The explosion on my porch hadn't been random. It was a warning. And the mastermind was someone I knew by reputation. Ray Donovan, a former analyst who'd gone off the rails years ago. Brilliant mind, zero morals. I asked how he gotten my home address. Before Harris could answer, Martha spoke. Up from the corner, because of course she'd refused to wait outside. "I might know him," she said. Both of us turned to stare. "Excuse me," I asked. She fiddled with her bracelet, avoiding my eyes. "Ree was my ex. A long time ago." I closed my eyes, exhaled, and muttered, "Of course he was." Harris frowned. "If he knows you, that could be how he found the director." Martha paused. "Wait, you're saying this is my fault?" I didn't answer, but the thought crossed my mind. That evening, agents swept my cabin for bugs. They found one hidden in a lamp. Tiny, sophisticated, military grade. I just pointed at it and said, "She might have been right." Martha folded her arms smugly. "Told you, don't get comfortable." I said, "That makes you the link." Hours later, while I reviewed data logs, she paced the living room like a restless cat. Her paranoia for once was useful. She noticed a framed photo on my desk, an old bureau event. In the blurry background was a face I recognized immediately. Ray Donovan. "How long has he been watching you?" she whispered. I didn't answer because I didn't know. Then my phone lit up with a message, a string of numbers and symbols. Ray's signature code. Just 3 words hidden in cipher form. I'm watching. By morning, we had a lead. A cabin Ray once used for thinking. According to Martha, we drove there with a surveillance team following at a distance. The forest road twisted 4 miles before opening into a clearing with an old shack. The air was heavy with the smell of rain and rot. Inside, monitors glowed like eyes in the dark, cables coiling across the floor. No sign of Ray, but the screens displayed a pulsing timer, red numbers ticking down from 24 hours. What is this? I muttered. A data release, Martha whispered. He's going to dump classified files. She leaned closer. Ray doesn't do things quietly. He'll want to watch the chaos himself. That means he's nearby. We searched the perimeter, and that's when she saw him, a shadow darting through the trees. Before I could stop her, she bolted after it. Martha, wait, I shouted, chasing her through the brush. Branches snapped. The ground turned to mud under our boots. She stumbled down a slope, and there he was. Ray, tall, gaunt, smiling like a man who enjoyed being hunted. Still sticking your nose where it doesn't belong, huh? He sneered. Guess old habits die hard, she shot back.